live. Hello, everybody. Just about to get started with whoever logs in. And this time it's just me, so I'll probably be able to answer questions as they come in. Isn't that wonderful? I think that'd be a great thing today. But today, I get to talk about the subject of what the heck is a realtor anyway? And the reason why I thought this was a pretty interesting topic is because I was out with a buyer client and asked them, hey, did you know the difference between a real estate agent and a realtor? And they did not have a clue. But there is a difference. There really, really is. And so I'm hoping that today will shed a little light on that because, you know, we're equipping people of faith for the home buying process. So this is part of the home buying process. And then also, too, we're going to talk about how to choose a realtor as well. We've got some folks logging in. Isn't this wonderful? Say probably about a minute or so and get started. So I have about 9 minutes, 15. Is that right, Joel? For the first segment? Yes, for the first segment. Hold on, let me change this video. Make the screen smaller. And let's make this one a little smaller too. Okay. And I got my little timer up here, so yes. So I can make this work. All right. Okay. All right, so I think we're ready. We're going to start off with some nice devotional and going to go into our activation part first and then choosing a realtor. So I think I'm as ready as I'll be. All right, all right. Yes, we are equipping people of faith for the home buying process. And today, I'm solo. But, you know, I come through with a topic that is near and dear to my heart, especially after I was out with a couple of buyers and asked them, hey, do you know the difference between a real estate agent and a realtor? And they actually did not know the difference. And I think a lot of people don't know the difference. So I think this is a great topic to have and a great topic for most people to know. There is a difference, you know, and we'll get into that in a little bit. And also, too, you know, the topic about how to choose a realtor. So whether you choose me or anyone else, it really doesn't matter. But there are ways to go about doing it so you make sure that the person that you have chosen is the right person for you. So let's get into a little bit of activation. You know me, I like my TPT version, but I was over in Psalms 139, 1 through 18. And I love this because even before becoming a realtor myself, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no clue what the direction was in my life. But after reading this and, you know, just kind of, I've read this before, but just reading it again and just knowing that it doesn't matter where you think you're going to go because, you know, many are the plans of a man's heart, right? But it's God's plans that will prevail. But this particular verse, our passage, I really love, and it's David, King David, talking about just how the Holy Spirit knows everything about him and how God just knows every single detail and knows what's best. And if we listen intently, he'll guide and direct us into career paths that we probably wouldn't even never, considered. So Psalms 139, 1, Lord, You know everything there is to know about me. You perceive every moment of my heart and soul, and you understand my every thought before it even enters my mind. You're so intimately aware of me, Lord. You read my heart like an open book, and you know all the words I'm about to speak, even before I start a sentence. You know every step I will take before my journey even begins, and you've gone into my future to prepare the way, and in kindness, you follow behind me to spare me from the harm of my past. Thank God for that. With your hand of love upon my life, you impart a blessing to me. This is just too wonderful, deep, and incomprehensible. Your understanding of me brings me wonder and strength. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I run and hide from your face? If I go up to heaven, you're there. If I go down to the realm of the dead, you're there too. If I fly with wings into the shining dawn, you're there. If I fly into the radiant sunset, you're also there waiting. Wherever I go, your hand will guide me. Your strength will empower me. It is impossible to disappear from you or to ask the darkness to hide me, for your presence is everywhere, bringing light into my night. There's no such thing as darkness with you. The night to you is as bright as the day, and there's no difference between the two. You formed my innermost being, shaping my delicate inside and my intricate outside, and wove them all together in my mother's womb. I thank you, God, for making me so mysteriously complex. Everything you do is marvelously breathtaking. It simply amazes me to think about it. How thoroughly you know me, Lord. You even formed every bone in my body when you created me in the secret place, carefully, skillfully shaping me from nothing to something. You saw who you created me to be before I became me. Before I'd ever seen the light of day, the number of days you planned for me were already recorded in your book. Lord, every single moment you are thinking of me, how precious and wonderful to consider that you cherish me constantly in your every thought. Oh God, your desires towards me are more than the grains of sand on every shore. When I awake each morning, you are still with me. And so this particular passage I absolutely love. And, you know, if anyone that knows me, like, real estate was not one of the first areas that I said, hey, I want to be a realtor when I grow up. Matter of fact, I don't even think I knew any realtors, to be honest with you. And I remember, you know, having a really hard time in just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do with life. And I may have kind of touched on this before in one of my pilot programs, but I remember coming home and my dad had a newspaper clipping. And it literally said, you know, ladies, attention, if you're looking for a different type of a career, come out and try to be a carpenter. And I'm like, carpenter, you know? And what's interesting is it was my dad that actually mentioned that. And it was my dad that actually saw something in me that I didn't even think was in me at all either. And, you know, and I had just came to Christ at the time. So I was kind of like, okay, God, where do you want me? What do you want me to do? And this opportunity came about for me to study and train with Union 405, the Carpenters Union, and become a carpenter. And wouldn't you know, even from being a carpenter, it transitioned into me having an unction and a passion to wanting to create home ownership for people. And I look at that and I say, you know what, if I hadn't just kind of been listening and just tried something new, and this is for somebody, you know, trying something different, trying something that you wouldn't even consider, but really trusting and believing, you know what, God, you're guiding and directing my course, and I'm going to do it, even though I'm scared. I'm going to do it. And wouldn't you believe, like going on missionary trips and doing the things that I honestly felt that was just, it was outside my comfort zone. Here it is, it led me into a career that I've been in for over 16 years, absolutely love. And, you know, I couldn't imagine myself even right now doing anything else. So this passage, again, you know, I take it personally, and I it's a reminder that, you know, the desires of my heart, they're my desires. And I believe that my mind has been transformed. And I believe that, you know, coming into, you know, just Christ, just renewing everything about me, that the directions and the path that he has for me, it's not just for myself, but it's for others to bless. It's for, you know, a path that I can bring to somebody else. And hopefully that's for somebody too. You know, you never know what you're doing in life. It may not be your forever thing, but it may be the stepping stone to get to actually where you want to go. Because remember, he's already looked at your future. So he's going behind you, kind of encouraging you and pushing you on. So you never know what the end result's going to be. And hopefully this is an encouragement for somebody to let you know that, you know, hey, maybe it's not real estate. maybe you started off with something, completely different. Hey, maybe it's hairdressing. Maybe it is, in the service industry, which I was. But you know what? All of that stuff, actually, I was a PBX operator for one of my first jobs, actually, was a PBX operator with a hotel. And I would, leave messages on people's voicemail, greeting them for coming in. And wouldn't you know, I'm on the radio. And I guess my voice is actually pretty good on the radio. And who would have thought that doing something like that before would have, gave me something in my future that I would have been doing? Who would have thought that becoming a carpenter would have led me into real estate, which has blessed so many people in my life, and just has blessed me as well? Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought that the things that you do, even as a teenager, when you have jobs and you're like, why am I doing this? This is just to pass time. But believe it or not, those are probably skill sets that are leading to something else for your future, and possibly a career. So that being said, we're going to talk today about the career of a realtor. Not really the career, but the little small parts that people really don't know. And again, I thought it was pretty important to talk about what a realtor is, because there is a difference. There is a difference. There's a difference between a real estate agent, someone that just has their license, and a realtor. And again, that's not realtor. It's only one syllable, realtor. So that's the first. That's the first education. But when we come back, I'm going to be talking a little bit about, I'm going to give some stats. I love some stats. Stats on real estate agents, and it's coming from the National Association of Realtors, and pretty good insight on what it took people, and who they used, how they used a real estate professional, if they did, when they sold their house, or when they actually bought their house. So that's coming up next. So stay tuned. This is Faith in Home Buying. I'm Tamika, and I'm equipping people of faith for the home buying process. I know I finished early. Hi, y'all. Hello. Hello. Hopefully, this topic is pretty important to some people. Oh yeah, this is the ringer. That's the timer. All right, so give me the amount for the next one. Like 10 minutes something. 19 seconds. 11:04, okay. Yeah, no worries. All right, awesome. So yeah, no, like I'm telling you, you'd be surprised. Like in life, I meet a lot of people, even some of my buyer clients, right, where they're kind of stuck. They're in a job that they don't necessarily like, they don't necessarily care for, and just wondering, how is this going to lead to a career? And I tell you what, I'm a firm believer that if you complete, what you're in and what you're doing, and you work as if you're working unto the Lord, and saying, you know what, although I may not understand it, this is where I'm at right now, but I'm going to treat this as if I'm working unto you, Lord. I'm going to treat this as, the place that I'm supposed to be. What am I supposed to learn? How am I supposed to be a light? Who am I supposed to talk to? Who am I supposed to influence? And I'm telling you, the magic happens when you're able to really have a change of mindset. I think it is. So yeah, that was from somebody. All right, you ready when I'm ready? So let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, let's go ahead. Hi, everybody. All right, so yes, I am equipping people of faith for the home buying process. And, I just talked about Psalms 139, 1 through 18, and that's a pretty close representation of how I feel just about how my life has been guided. And hopefully for you, it's kind of brought a little bit of activation. But now we're going to go into a little bit of education, because, it's activate, educate, and going to empower, and talking about some stats. I thought this was kind of cool. This is from the National Association of Realtors. They have some really, really great stats. And if you're interested in looking at, just more information on real estate, NAR dot realtor, and that's REALTOR, NAR dot Realtor. It's really, really a great site, not only just for you as a consumer, but just for other agents too, to go and peruse on and have a lot of great insight. So, stats. Love stats. Don't you love stats? I love stats. And I found a couple of them that were pretty interesting with regards to real estate professionals. So the first one was home buying and real estate professionals. And these are like little snapshots of polls that they take randomly from, people that have been in the home buying or selling process. And so this particular one says 89% of buyers recently purchased their home through a real estate agent or broker, and 5% purchased directly from a builder or builder's agent. So what is that saying? So that's saying that a whole lot of people do trust folks like me and actually do trust the process of going through a real estate agent to hopefully know what they're doing, because I'll talk about that later. There are some things that, again, as a realtor, you have to adhere to, but that they have trust in real estate agents. So yeah, 89% of buyers recently purchased their homes. Let's see, having an agent to help them find the right home was what buyers wanted most when choosing an agent. And that was 52% of people wanted to have an agent to help them find the right home for them. So, we're a little important. I think so. You can find it online all you want, but there is a process when you go in and you're looking for a home in the search, and to really delineate between maybe one house and another, looking at disclosures or finding those things that you may not have seen. Maybe it's something that needed to be pointed out. So we do have a little bit of value. I see a lot of value, but we'll get into that later. Let's see here, another stat. 75% of buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search. Did you know that? I've been on the end of probably one interview with people, and I like to think that I'm a pretty cool realtor, and hopefully they didn't interview other people, but I would encourage it. There are questions and such that you can ask, agents, and you can interview them, because it's a very, very emotional, number one, process. It's a very, very intimate process. I tell people all the time, my clients said, look, I'm in your bedroom, I'm in your bed, I'm in your car, I'm everywhere, with you. And so, it's really, really a good thing to know, number one, that the person knows what they're doing and are very versed in it. Even if they're a newer agent, still doesn't matter, as long as they are, they know what they're doing, and they have at least a team that backs them up in order to help in situations, because we're problem solvers, right? That's the biggest thing that we are, and to help in problem solving some major issues, because no deal is the same. Okay, but then, I really do think that having an agent as well just helps with the paperwork. There's so much disclosures and paperwork to sift through. Some of it's self-explanatory, but a lot of it isn't. So I really, really say that if you are, interested in this process, do find someone that you can trust. Do find someone that you can, actually hang with, because I'm with you every day. Okay, you got to like the person. It's the truth. I'm with you every day, just about, or every weekend we're hanging out. So you got to kind of like the person too, right? So also, 90% of buyers would use their agent again or recommend their agent to others. That's kind of a good thing. For myself, a lot of my referral business comes from repeat clients, which is great. And then, I honestly think it's special to me if someone is that trusting in the situation that we've had, and they like it and they enjoyed it and they had a great experience, that they would actually say anything to someone else. So for myself, that's a beautiful thing. So again, if you do have an agent, and if they are someone that that did a good job, hey, refer them. No one's probably ever too busy for referrals, that's for sure. And we'll make sure to treat them right? So yeah, 90% of buyers would use their agent again or recommend their agent to others. Okay, and so this is some selling ones. So home selling and real estate professionals. And again, this is on the National Association of Realtors website. I figured some stats are probably pretty good to kind of warm us up on our education. So did you know that 75% of recent sellers contacted only one agent before finding the right agent they work with to sell their home? So what does that mean? That means that, if you make a good first impression as an agent, and, if vibes you click with the people that are actually selling, well, then that's a great thing. And normally it's not a bad thing too, because when I go in for listing presentations, and of course you want to make sure that what you have said and what you have presented is the best, from your stats to how you presented yourself to how you're going to market the property, whatever the case may be. But in all actuality, a lot of it, honestly, is how they get along with you. Does the personality match? And so that is important. However, do still be diligent. And we'll talk about some things about choosing a realtor that you should still keep in the back of your mind, even though you get along with them, but just making sure that, number one, best interest is in heart. And also that they kind of have a little bit of some of the qualities I'll talk about a little bit later to help you navigate the process, and make sure that it's successful and that you're not sitting on the market for a long time, or you priced things wrong, or they've made suggestions that were not good or didn't go with the market at that time. So strategy and such. All right, so another one. So 89% of sellers listed their homes on the multiple listing service, which is the MLS, which is the #1 source for sellers to list their home. Okay, so 89% of sellers listed it on an MLS. And so when you work with a realtor specifically, there is what's called an MLS, which is a multiple listing service that we put your home on. And also for buyers is what we look for homes for you as well. And with that, sometimes it's a search that, there's criteria that we put in, or, we send you the ones that we think that are appropriate. Back in the day, we have so many more, public sites for this stuff, but I'm telling you, back in the day, like, you wouldn't even know what homes were on the market. Right now, you can pull up a Zillow or a Redfin. It's really easy. But back in the day, no, you couldn't do that. It wasn't that easy. They actually had a big book, a big book that agents carried around. The thing was like this thick of homes that were on the market. And it was very, very kind of secretive, and it was a lot different than it is now. There's a lot more public information, but still the same. You still do want a listing service that is able to do it like, 0 days on the market when it comes out. Doesn't take a lot of time to populate. Sometimes the public sites, they have homes that are on there that have lasted for, over 2 years, and they're still on the market and they haven't been updated. So just be wary of those type of things. And usually when you work with a realtor, those are the things that they set you up on so that you have the latest and greatest information. The only reason why you probably wouldn't get a home on there is due to it being a for sale by owner. Which they don't usually use a multiple listing service, from a realtor or a real estate agent, or it's, something that's being sold off market. So last one, second to last one. So 75% of sellers reported that they provided the agent's compensation. So I don't think most people know this. Some people don't. Do you know that as a buyer's agent, like when I'm taking you and, we're going through different neighborhoods and finding homes, I don't get paid. I do it for free. Like, not really, but yeah. No, you don't pay me. I get paid actually usually it is from the seller's proceeds. So there is a net, and I get paid, and that's already established on the MLS, or however it's been negotiated. So I get that established already. And for myself, it can be negotiated, of course, but no, as a buyer, going out and viewing, no, I don't charge at all. There are some people that do. There are some certain circumstances, that others do, and that's a case-by-case basis. But in all totality, no. You as the buyer do not. It comes from the seller, and that's already determined when they sign their listing agreement and they put their home up on the market for sale. So yeah, that's a little information for you there, and hopefully that's a little education for you. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the Realtor Code of Ethics. Did you know we have Code of Ethics, and it's quite a few of them. And if you never know, you had someone kind of acting crazy and they call themselves a realtor, I'm telling you, it's a code of ethics that we have to go through from the National Association of Realtors, California Association of Realtors, and it's a standard that we have to adhere to. And I take it very, 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 very seriously. And I want to make sure that you're educated about it. All right. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Tamika Ellsworth. This is Faith in Home Buying, and I'm equipping people of faith and some others too for the home buying process. Oh, it's dinging. All right, who do I have here? Daniel, Dion. Hey, how you doing? Hi, y'all. Hey, if you have any questions, please write them down. Type them in. If I'm not able to answer them right now, I will get to them. But I know people usually have kind of questions about, some of the topics. But yeah, if you do, or send me a DM. I'll be more than willing to answer the questions. And so hopefully that blessed somebody. I love stats. Every now and then I'll bring those in, but I thought it was kind of cool. Hopefully you guys did too. So now we're going to get into, which I know most people don't know, agents have a pledge of performance and service. I know most people don't, and most realtors actually don't either. And I'll tell you the difference between a realtor and a real estate agents. Okay. Yes, there is a difference. And, hopefully this goes out to someone. They get a little knowledge and insight. And if someone's not acting right, that is supposed to be selling their home or acting scrupulous and not doing what they're supposed to, that there is you can actually report them to the Department of Real Estate. And them being a realtor, you look them up and you can see if they've had any disciplinary actions filed against them. So that is something that you can do. So you do have some power. You can't just let someone act like a fool representing you. I didn't say that on the air. You heard it live. All right. So I think 9:50. Okay. Let me. Kind of did that at one. Okay. Wasn't too bad. 5 seconds off. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do it. All right, so we're into our education component. Faith in home buying, equipping people of faith for the home buying process. And I like this topic because a lot of realtors do not know this topic either. And they probably don't even know that there's a code of ethics that they need to adhere to. So we're educating you, right? Today is an education part. And we're equipping you in a little bit because I'm going to talk about how to choose a realtor and some kind of like three kind of broad ways in order to pick them. But right now, we're going to talk about the code of ethics. And this can actually be found. I can send you, if you're really interested in this, I can send you a copy if you're interested, because it's public information to know. And a lot of times I kind of give this out to my buyer clients so that they can know that, hey, if I'm not adhering to these articles, you need to say something about it. So the National Association of Realtors adopted a Code of Ethics in 1913, following the professions of medicine, law, and engineering. So it's a professional job and service that I'm a part of, okay? Realtors are real estate professionals who have chosen to join the National Association and abide by its strict code of ethics, okay? So that's the difference. You have your realtor, and then you have real estate professionals. They don't all become realtors, okay? So not everyone's a realtor and can use that name because it is trademarked, okay? I actually pay money in order to be a realtor and to be a part of the National Association of Realtors. So if someone comes to you saying, hey, I'd like to take you out, I want to buy your home, I want to sell your home, ask them, hey, are you a realtor? like realtor, and see what they say. But what does it mean to you as a consumer, right? It means that any realtor with whom you work has voluntarily agreed to abide by a code of ethics based on professionalism and protection of the public. Okay, so realtors are subject to disciplinary action and sanctions if they violate the duties imposed by the code of ethics. Okay, and so the code of ethics is a detailed document that spells out the professional responsibilities of every realtor. Okay, and actually you can ask a realtor or any other person that claims that they are, you can ask them for these and they should be able to produce them. Okay, so here we go. Ready? So duties to clients and customers. And again, these are something that realtors have to abide to, right? So number one is Article 1. Realtors protect and promote their clients' interest while treating all parties honestly. Okay, so did you know that? So, you know, shady realtors, there really should be a thing of the past, especially if they are an actual realtor versus a real estate agent. So they have to promote your interest, but then they need to be honest with their dealings with other people. So like, for instance, if I submit an offer and they say that they have presented it, they should have presented it. And I need to adhere to and believe that they've done that, you know, for my client's sake as well, right? So Article 2. Realtors refrain from exaggeration, misrepresentation, or concealment of pertinent facts related to property or transactions. So that's self-explanatory. We can't exaggerate or we cannot conceal really, really important facts or information. So know that. Also, number 3, realtors cooperate with other real estate professionals to advance their clients' best interests. So yes, that's what I do, and that's what most do, because it is something that we can't do this alone, right? If you're in a transaction, you have the listing agent and you have the buying agent, which they call the selling agent. So you have both parties, and there's everyone working together to make sure that this transaction can close and each party comes in hopefully with a win-win situation. Okay, so article number 4, when buying or selling on their own account or for their families of firms, realtors make their true position or interests known. So if I am actually selling my father's home, I need to make it known that I am an agent selling a property, or if I'm selling my own property, I just have to make everyone aware that I am selling that property. Okay, so you can't be covert with that. That's a rule. You can get in trouble for it too. So Article 5, realtors do not provide professional services where they have any present or contemplated interest in property without disclosing that interest to all affected parties. And so that simply means that, hey, if I have business, whether it be other affiliated businesses, that means that I'm supposed to let you know about it, and it's just letting you know that I have other interests in other areas that may be with the same company. Okay. So Article 6, realtors disclose any fee or financial benefit they may receive from recommending related real estate products or services. So again, when I tell people I have different people coming through or different lenders to send them to, I need to let you know if I get compensation for it, and usually I don't at all, because that's just it for me. It's just the comfort of knowing that I've submitted you to some lenders that I know get the job done. Okay. So Article 7, realtors accept compensation from only one party, except where they make full disclosure to all parties and received informed consent from their client. All right. So ultimately what I said before, it's all pretty much laid out in a listing agreement or on the MLS, what the compensation will be. And if anything changes, definitely letting everyone of the parties know. Okay. Article 8, realtors keep the funds of clients and customers in a separate escrow account. So therefore, if you gave me a check, for instance, for an earnest money deposit, which we don't need to really do that anymore because you can do it electronically. But if we did, it's in a completely separate account, filed in with the brokerage that you are in a trust account to make sure that it's safe until it's submitted into the escrow company. Okay. So Article 9. Realtors make sure that details of agreements are spelled out in writing whenever possible and that parties receive copies. So the old saying that if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist, it's the truth. So make sure that everything is in writing. So those were the duties to clients and customers, okay? Kind of good stuff, right? I hope so. I hope that was good. So again, we actually have a couple more. Duties to the public. Okay, so Article 10. Realtors give equal professional service to all clients and customer, irrespective of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Realtors do not discriminate in their employment practices. So that's self-explanatory. And anyone that knows me knows that this is me to the heart and to the core. So you shouldn't have someone that says based off of whatever, I can't work with you. You know, maybe it's a personal thing that's a lot different than doing it based off of one of these items in Article 10. So Article 11, realtors are knowledgeable and competent in the fields of practice in which they engage, or they get assistance from a knowledgeable professional, or disclose any lack of expertise to their client. So look, hey, yeah, I was a carpenter in my past. However, I'm not a professional carpenter right now. However, when we do our inspections, I'll make sure that a professional is there that's licensed and bonded to be able to give a home inspection, right? Or either a termite inspection. Not that bad, right? So Article 12. Realtors are honest and truthful in their communications and present a true picture in their advertising, marketing, and other public representations. Okay, well, we've all seen the pictures where someone's there and it really doesn't look like them because the picture's like 20-something years old. But the point being is, you should make a representation about yourself that is accurate and that is truthful, especially what you're trying to accomplish, whether you're listing a property, whether you're talking about a different course that you are running or hosting. Be honest, okay? So Article 13. Realtors do not engage in the unauthorized practice of law. Sorry, can't do it. I'm not a lawyer, but I can direct you towards one. And sometimes it kind of gets a little frustrating. You're asking, your realtor something, and they say like, look, I can't answer that, but I can direct you to someone that can. So that's a reason why we can't practice law. Okay. Article 14. Realtors willingly participate in ethics investigations and enforcement of actions. So yes, I do. We have every 4 years we have to go through ethics course and regulations just to make sure that we are understanding what we're doing, and if anything has changed, updated. We always keep ourselves abreast of our code of ethics and being ethical. I think that's important. So there's the last 3. There's actually 17 total. So I'll go over Article 15, 16, and 17 when we come back, because that's actually our duties to other realtors. So realtor to realtor, professional to professional, we actually have duties as well. So thank you so much for just tuning in. Wait for the next segment, because we'll talk a little bit about are the articles, but then we're also going to talk about how to choose a realtor, and I think that's some pretty juicy stuff. Stay tuned. And my timer went off. Hey, everybody. Remember, if you have any questions, you can totally write it down, send me, DM me, or even write it inside the chat area. Very informative. I hope so. I hope that it has been. A lot of agents don't even know this. And remember, if you want me to share this information with you, I can totally send it to you. It's public information. And those that are looking out for their their own interest and such, and being an informed buyer, you really should ask your real estate professional, hey, do you have your articles of the code of ethics on you, or do you know any of them? So you're going to be coming through with a whole bunch of knowledge and insight. So it's really good stuff, though. All right. So we got those. How many more segments do I have? Yeah, I got my 2. I got the long one and the short one, right? Yep, 10:51. Got it. Excellent. These things are going by faster and faster. Yeah, but it's a lot of information to pack in one thing. But I think it's important stuff, though. The Constitution of Real Estate. Yes, the Constitution of the Real Estate Coordinator. That's right. And you should know these things like the back of your hand, just like you should know your contract, because it will keep you out of a whole load of trouble. All right. So let's go ahead and do this one, and then we'll go to how to choose a realtor. All right. Let's do it. All right, all right. So yes, finishing on with talking about our articles of the Code of Ethics. It's called pretty much the Constitution of Real Estate. It is the pledge and performance of service that realtors, different than real estate professionals, realtors must adhere to. And if they don't, disciplinary action can actually be taken place against them. So be wary of someone that is not a realtor because they don't adhere to those performances. And it's just something that's an extra level of comfort of knowing that you're dealing with someone who has checks and balances too. All right, so we're going to finish it out. There's 17 of them. And the last 3, I'm going to go, and this is dealing with the duties to other realtors. So professional to professional, right? So Article 15, realtors make only truthful, not misleading comments about other real estate professionals. What? There's no talking mess. So if you've heard that, that's not part of the Code of Ethics. But yes, make only truthful, not misleading comments about other real estate professionals. So do know that it's not it shouldn't be a backbiting type of thing. It should honestly be we hold each other to a standard of and a level of professionalism, and we don't badmouth other agents, or we don't badmouth other people in the industry. We really shouldn't, and I don't. And if you do have someone that's doing that, you probably need to check that. Ethically, is that even someone you really want to work with? Just saying. Article 16, realtors respect the exclusive representation or exclusive brokerage relationship agreements that other realtors have with their clients, okay? There is a certain thing called a exclusive broker representation agreement, like even with buyers. I've had some of my buyers in the past, and even current, sign representation agreements. And that means that, hey, I am the one that you are representing, or you're the one that I'm representing in this transaction, and you've hired me on in order to represent you in a particular area. And if a realtor knows that has been signed, then they need to step back and say, you know what, I'm going to let you deal with your real estate agent. Once that's been resolved or dissolved, then you can come to me and we can work together. So it's adhering to that and just making sure that you are on the up and up with regards to agent to agent parameters and boundaries. So Article 17. Realtors arbitrate and mediate financial disagreements with other realtors and with their clients. So that's the last one. So yeah, financial disagreements with other realtors. And so it's something like, for instance, with a broker coming into the situation, maybe there's something going on with one person in compensation wise, whatever it may be. That's one of the reasons you have brokers for, and that's one of the reasons you have, hopefully ways in which you can disregard or come to a good resolve with regards to other agents. But there it is, all spelled out, 17 articles of the Code of Ethics for realtors. All right, so now I'm going to get into the last part, and this is how to choose a realtor. And I thought this was kind of important. It's in one of the little books that I have. And I see buyer clients all the time, and they don't know who they're looking for, not necessarily, but I think these are just some of the top 3 areas that you should be searching and looking for when you're looking for a realtor. Okay, so number 1 on how to choose a realtor. I look at the word ambassador, okay? Your realtor should be your biggest ambassador and supporter. So it's important you trust them to represent you in the transaction. A professional realtor should be an area specialist, has successfully bought and sold, hopefully in that area, and has great reviews and referrals, which is important, right? Someone that you have representing you is very, 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 very important that when they go and they represent you to even other agents, right, that their reputation would precede them, that the reputation that they have would not be one of lying, of mistrust. It's so important. And thankfully, we have things like the internet, yay, that you can look up reviews, and you can look up even reviews not only just on the agent, but even on the brokerage that they work for. You can look it up and see what things have been said about them, and hopefully they have been good things, and hopefully it talks a little bit about the character of the individual, because it means all the difference when you submit an offer. Maybe it's a competitive offer, and maybe this person has a bad history on going into deals and not completing them, or being really, really not a person that's easy to work with. It could make a difference between the offer getting accepted and the other agent on the other side. It could. Shouldn't, but it could. Okay. So ambassadors, number one. Number two, they should be a strategist. Okay, there is a big part to this whole process, whether you're buying or you're selling, of strategy. Okay, again, I talked about it before. Realtors, we are problem solvers. I'd like to think of myself as a pretty good problem solver. I like those problem solving games as well too, but they should be a strategist. They should ensure that you are represented well, right? But they should have a proven strategy for getting offers accepted or selling homes at the best possible price and contingencies. Okay, realtors should be flexible to adapt to economic conditions, knowledgeable in the current and upcoming market, and savvy enough to develop an individual approach that combines experience, knowledge, and negotiation. So yeah, like I honestly think that this is a really big key to being able, and especially in really hot markets, really markets where it's, and at least for my own self, using great strategies, whether it be doing open houses, how we do open houses with my buyers, if I'm selling a property, what days to go on, the market, when to actually, market the property, because it makes a big difference, what price to put it on at and why, also too, how to stage the home. We have, stagers that come in, but, there's strategy coming in all directions to make sure that the end result is something that is very favorable for our client. And it does take a lot of strategy, but it also takes a lot of trust. However, if you've chosen a realtor and you've already looked at their background, you've asked probably questions, and maybe I'll have a segment talking about different questions to ask a real estate agent. But ask your questions so you know that they're very, very knowledgeable about the job that they're about to perform, so you trust them. And when they make all the changes, and then in the end you see, that's why you did it, and that was the method to your madness. Absolutely. Everything has a method, right? Okay, and so the last one, negotiator. Okay, and in addition to being an ambassador and a strategist, a realtor should have excellent negotiation skills. Right? They should be able to work well with all sides, with companies and contractors, while representing your best interest. And that's what actually sets apart, I think, the great agents from the good. And it's so important. I mean, someone can be, yeah, that person's a pit bull and they don't take no for an answer. But however, that's not always necessary, and at least I feel it's not always necessary in real estate transactions. Sometimes what's necessary and what's actually okay is being able to have a win-win situation with other people, being able to talk things out and actually to make it work for your clients. It's very, very important that you can get along with all sides, even sides for, that do your staging, it's sides that actually do maybe the work, maybe there's work that needs to be performed or done. It all makes a difference. And shoot, being nice and a little honey in it, honestly, that could save you money too when it comes down to different trades. No joke, it really can. So the realtor that you choose is an ambassador. They know kind of the area. They know they have a good reputation, which is so important because that will precede them. Making sure that they're a strategist. That's very important. Making sure that the strategy, when it comes down to from the start to the finish, even when you're going out and looking for homes, there's strategy there too. But making sure that the strategy is something that's a part of who they are. And then the last part is being a negotiator. Just making sure that negotiation doesn't always have to be one-sided. There's some give and take when it comes down to negotiations with anything, right? And shoot, my kids, they're like master negotiators. I swear they are. They're only 10 and 5. And man, maybe they'll be a real estate agent later on in life. I don't know. But man, who can negotiate cookies before bedtime and knowing I said no, but it's just the ways that they ask, and they keep asking certain ways. I'm like, okay, fine, you can have half of one, and then you got to go to bed. So aside from that, I hope the things that I've covered, remember we talked about articles of the code of ethics for realtors. That was a first part. Then we talked about how to choose a realtor. So hopefully this empowerment part, because again, we're looking at activation, education, and empowerment. Hopefully this empowerment part kind of got you geared up to be able to actually choose someone to sell your property or geared you up to finally get out there and pick a realtor in order to go find some homes for you. So thank you so much. When we come back in the next segment, I'm going to wrap everything up, but I really appreciate you tuning in for this long, and I hope when I come back, I have a little last segment just to wrap everything up. Thank you, everyone. And this is Tamika Ellsworth, and this is Faith in Home Buying, and I'm equipping people of faith for the home buying process. Oh, I know. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Remember, if you have any questions, type it in. Send me an email. Send me a text. Send me a DM. I'll be here to answer your questions, and hopefully you had a little bit of insight. And also, too, if you want these articles 1 through 17, and this is from the National Association of Realtors, the Realtor Pledge of Performance and Service, I will totally send them to you, because it's some good ammo to have when you are out shopping for homes and out shopping for someone to be on your team. Very, very important. All right. 546, that's not bad. 546. Okay, got that. Boom. All right. Hi, everyone. Hope you're enjoying this. Thought this is a pretty important topic, kind of if you weren't here before, just because I think it's so important. Not only to know that there is a difference between a realtor and a real estate professional agent, there is. Not only the money that I got to pay, but to be able to use the term realtor, you do have to be a part of the National Association of Realtors. And you can check to see if a person is a realtor by looking up their real estate license, believe it or not. So just know that not everybody who's a real estate agent is a realtor and can actually use that name and actually voluntarily complies with the code of ethics that I just lined out. And remember, if you missed it, don't worry. Live is going to be on the Facebook Live, but then also I'm going to be on the air, and that's just, this is a pre-recording. So KFAX AM 1100, 9 a.m. Saturdays. All right, I think we're ready to go. The what? Oh, yeah, there we go. All right. So, Faith in Home Buying, equipping people of faith with the home buying process. I had a good time today. Hopefully you were tuning in and caught the first part of what I had talked about. The first one was Psalms 139, 1 through 18. Like, it was I love that verse because it really talked a lot about how I felt this morning, just knowing that I've gotten into a career that I wouldn't even have thought of, but being directed and guided by, God and just the Holy Spirit. Here I am as a realtor, from a carpenter to an actual realtor. And, for over 16 years, I've been so thankful. But that, going into our education, gave some stats on some home buyers and sellers, some really great information. Hope you caught that. But then the last part was some empowerment and also some education too. Letting people know a little bit more that, hey, there's a difference between a realtor and a real estate agent. And it's a whole big article of about 17 articles of codes of conduct that if you didn't know, now you know about. And hopefully, if you want that information, I can totally send that to you. It's not a problem. DM me, send me a message, and I can send it out to you. But it is also found in the National Association of Realtors website, and that's NAR.org, I believe, or NAR.realtor. You can find it there. But lastly, we rounded it out talking about how to choose a realtor. And it is, really like about 3 areas. I honestly feel that these are really areas that you should always look for when choosing someone, whether you're buying or you're selling, being an ambassador, being a strategist, and also being a negotiator. right? And the question also comes to, well, how do I find a realtor, right? So I think some of the best places to start is just by asking friends. Why not, right? Asking friends and family if they could recommend someone, because usually if someone's recommended or referral wise, they try to strive to do the best that they could possibly do in making the transaction successful. So those are really good places to start. But then, of course, if people had a great experience working with someone, maybe it's a coworker that just moved, or maybe it's someone in your life, a friend that just moved, always asking that. But of course, the biggest thing is making sure you kind of can get along with that person, because as I talked about before, it's a personal, very, very intimate type of relationship. And I always call it like, I'm intimate. I'm in your bedroom, I'm in your bathroom, I'm everywhere with you. And if you have a spouse, I'm everywhere with them too. But in the end, once everything gets done, it's like, oh, it's almost like the loss of a relationship. I've talked to some of my clients about that, but that's how you want it to be, right? Like that close that, hey, look, I know what you're thinking. I know you probably won't want this home. Let's move on to the next one. That's how intimate and how good I want to know my clients. So when we're going through this process, I can immediately preview a house and know, nope, this is not for them. Nope, this is not the neighborhood. And to make it go a lot smooth, just make it go more smoother, because you got to figure, sometimes this process can take over 3 months, 8 months, especially if it's a particular style of home. And you want to make sure that, you're having fun at that. And it's not so stressful. You have someone that can take some stress out of it, and someone that you can have, meaningful conversation. They know what they're doing, but there's a trust level in it that that they're out and looking for your best interest, right? And, I think the last part what we talked about a little bit too is just making sure that you do look at reviews, because that's important too. Maybe you don't know the person, and so you look at reviews and you look online and really read them, because, a lot of them kind of can be surface, but if they're really talking about their experience and you're like, you know what, I don't want to have that same experience with this individual. And experiences make a big, big difference. So yeah, I would encourage you, look at some reviews. They can be found on Yelp, Zillow, Facebook, Redfin as well. But they're also really, really great things to do in order to find a realtor that is a good one. Right? So again, I thank you so much. Remember, I can be reached at TamikaEllsworth.com, and that's TAMIKA, last name ELLS as in Sam, WORTH.com. I have a lot of information on there. One of my next shows that air on American Dream TV, that should be up on there. Another podcast as well. Hey, if you are looking for an agent and kind of on the fence, hopefully I fit your criteria. Hopefully, we can have some fun actually searching together. I'd love to take this journey with you. And if you are saying, no, Tamika, I don't need faith, I'm good. I want to go find a home. Hey, I want to work with you too. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me a DM. I'd love to go on this journey with you. And so again, you can catch the show every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And this is Tamika Ellsworth. And I really appreciate you tuning in today, those that are live and those that are on the radio. But I really appreciate you tuning in. This is Tamika Ellsworth with Faith in Home Buying. And hey, I'm equipping people of faith for the home buying process. Take it easy. I finished sooner. Oh no, Yes. All right. I think it was pretty good. Hopefully it was something that you can take. Hopefully, it was something that spoke to you. I hope so. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Catch it again, 9 a.m. KFAX, the whole thing. If you missed the at the top of the segment, but it was some good information. But I think it's something that's going to empower people, activate some folks. And hey, I'm going to be talking about home buying pretty soon next week. Actually, it's going to be kind of nice. I have Drew Sanchez with DL Movers coming on. And hey, when you move, when you need a moving company, and probably a good one. So I'm going to talk to him a little bit about that and give him some information as well. Thank you so much, everybody.
Hey, Tamika, is the